Are you serious about your health and fitness, but overwhelmed by the conflicting information and BS all over social media? Welcome to Fit Facts. Brought to you by Brandon Pascual and Gabe Erno. With a combined 10 years of training experience, this physical therapist and personal trainer duo bring you the most up-to-date and applicable fitness and lifestyle tips based on the most cutting-edge research, bridged with field experience of what actually works and is sustainable for the long term. Enjoy. What is that right there?
So right here,
What is that?
I got Vooz. It's a hydration drink. It looks like Bang.
It's a hydration. It is Bang.
No, it's not Bang.
It's by Bang.
It's by Bang. It's by VPX, I think. But
What?
VPX Energy is who makes Bang.
Okay.
But it's also Vooz, so
How's
it's a
this
hydration
different?
drink. Because it doesn't have any caffeine and has a lot of like electrolytes.
Oh, and does it have like B vitamins and stuff for energy?
It does, yeah. I mean, it has vitamins.
This seems like a commercial right now.
It has calcium. I know, right? Honestly,
Trust me, we're way too small of an audience to have sponsors at this point.
The fun fact is, I rarely see Vooz anymore, and it was
Yeah.
on the clearance rack at Vaughn's last night.
Okay.
So I was like, damn, that's how you know like no one wants it. But hey, I do, dude. Blackberry Blitz is a pretty good flavor.
Guys, please give Brandon a sponsorship out here.
Yeah, give me free Vooz, honestly.
I used to really like the Yerba Mates. Did you ever drink those?
I think.
But I think the brand was like Rebel or something.
Is it yellow?
Yeah.
Yeah, it tastes like shit.
Guayqui is the brand.
Yeah, I think it tastes like shit.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
I was like, I think it tastes like shit. Or
I
like,
just don't drink caffeine anymore because I get like anxiety and kind of grumpy from it. So I'm like,
what's that thing that I remember you brought it up a few podcast episodes ago? It's like something you drink. It's
L-theanine.
No. It's something that like some people drink it in like with alcohols, like Juneshine. It's like it's like a tea kind of. You drank it once, and I was like, yo, this is ass.
I would drink it with alcohol?
You would drink it with alcohol. You drink it once here, but it didn't have any alcohol. There's some. It had, like some flavors are with alcohol and some without it. It's like some kind of tea.
Oh, kombucha.
Kombucha, there we go, kombucha, yeah. That shit's ass.
Kombucha's delicious, dude. Dude, that you can't say that. I feel upset right now. You probably just haven't had the right kombucha, honestly.
Probably.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I remember I tried it. What?
I'll brew you some myself.
All right, thank you. You will. Next podcast.
Next podcast. I'm gonna buy a kombucha kit today.
Today? Are you really? All right. When next time we record a podcast, we'll be drinking it, and then we'll pick up from there.
It might not be ready by then. We'll see. Usually takes like a couple months. It takes a couple months. Can't rush the process. Anyway, what's this episode about?
Well, when people brew kombucha, sometimes they're brewing so much that they have a lot of elbow pain.
No, that's not a thing.
Wait, what? They're brewing a lot.
They're brewing a lot.
Dude, I'm telling you, they're like brewing a lot of stuff.
So you're the kombucha expert. People get pain from the...
Honestly, okay. People will get pain from doing stuff like that, though.
Yeah,
a lot of...
What is this term, by the way?
That's pronation, supination. Pronation, supination. So, guys, we're trying to make a transition very smooth into our
I wasn't allowing that to happen.
Yeah, I was like, dude.
You set it up, and then I just shot it down.
I know, for real. But yeah, honestly, so pretty much we're going to tell you why your elbow pain is not coming from the elbow itself.
Wait, Brandon, just like we talked about on the knee pain, are you saying that if I have pain in my elbow, it's not the elbow that's causing the pain necessarily?
Necessarily, I will say no. That's not the root cause.
Wow. So other areas, other limitations in my body
are causing. I mean, your elbow does have the pain,
Wow.
but it's usually because of an overuse on the middle of the elbow or the lateral part of the outside of the elbow.
Okay.
That's one of the things. So I'm pretty sure a lot of you have heard of the term golfer's elbow, tennis elbow, right? You've heard of it? Yeah.
Totally.
So
those are the same thing?
Not the same thing. So golfer's elbow is more in the middle part of your, we call it the medial side of the elbow. Mm-hmm. All right. So that's also called medial or medial epicondylgia or elbow. Golfer's tendonitis. That's what it's called. Elbow tendonitis. And then tennis elbow is more on the lateral side.
Epicondylitis?
Epicondylgia.
Okay.
So it's a tendonitis, tendinopathy. There are too many terms I can't keep up with. But pretty much the golfer's elbow in the middle right here, that's where all like the muscles that do a lot of like flexion of the wrist. So that's this right here. And like grabbing stuff, gripping. A lot of people that do a lot of gripping, like the weightlifters, they get most of their overuse pain or their referred pain on that middle part of the elbow.
And that's because of Usually flexion
a lot. They're
related, less extension.
Yeah, so they're gripping a lot. So if they do a lot of pull-ups, they're compensating a lot. Probably not using their bigger back muscles.
Yeah,
they're using more of their bicep or maybe like their forearm muscles to pull them up.
I had a client who was doing that, and he was getting a lot of elbow pain.
Yeah,
it wasn't until we adjusted to where his wrists were straighter, his elbows were driving back more, so he was using his bigger back muscles. It just went away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So sometimes it'll be like that where you kind of have to focus more on form, or sometimes you have to break it up, but we'll get to that later.
Okay.
Get to that breakdown assessment. And then now we're going to talk about that tennis elbow pain. So tennis elbow, that's going to be more on the lateral side. So they say it's tennis elbow because this has to do with a lot of, instead of gripping, that's still a thing, but it's also more of twisting the forearm. So that's why when people when they play tennis, they do like that backhand motion to swing it.
Totally.
It's because when they kind of swing to hit the ball, they're using more forearm, which a lot of people think like, oh yeah, aren't you supposed to use your arm or forearm to hit the ball? But no, you're supposed to actually start the movement more with your hips.
Yeah, rotate.
Yeah. So a lot of people, like people who do a lot of like yard work around the house, they can get pain in the elbow like that from a lot of maybe like people who do a lot of interior design, like a lot of hammering.
So a lot of little flexion,
like that,
extension of the wrist, or pronation,
yeah. And I would even say like people, I have a client who owns a business and he's all over the place. He's working from home, he has kids, and he has to be on the field. He does real estate, so he's like actually even doing some of the designing also, lifting shit up. So he's always like, his arm's always in that position like that. Yeah, so when I first saw him, he actually had that golfer's elbow, more medial elbow pain. But then it actually went to the lateral side, so then it became tennis elbow. But long story short, pretty much the root cause of that elbow pain was from the mid-back.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And why was that?
Why was that? Well, it's because he also does a lot of CrossFit as well. So when he does CrossFit, he's pulling and using more of his forearms.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. And then also when he's like typing, working on his desk, he's not really doing any kind of like stretches or doing anything to offset that movement.
Sure. So he's not, so a lot of these back muscles are a little more phasic, a little more turned off. And he's constantly kind of protracted forward. So you're saying like his shoulder blade muscles or his big lats, like those muscles aren't engaged as much as
they're already set up in a position. So this shows where like, if you were to kind of assess someone's elbow, you have to take in a lot of consideration, like their work style, their work positions, conditioning levels, all so and so. But anyways, the number one, I'm going to list a few of the reasons why people get elbow pain right here. So first reason is overuse injuries right here. So you're overusing it. I mean, the source is at the elbow.
Tennis, repetitive motions.
Yeah, exactly. Or even like shoulder pressing, whatever.
Sure.
You're not using the right back muscles. It's usually due to an overuse injury because you're not recovering as well. Like you're probably going hard every day, like 5 times a day, doing a shoulder press. Monday, 5 rep max. Then next day it's gonna be bench press 5 rep max. Then next day it's gonna be just like attack your arms. And you're not giving it that much of a rest time. So it's a lot of overuse injuries, and then also you're not doing any mobility work. That brings up to the second reason.
Well, really quick with the first reason. So would you say if somebody is able to immediately identify like, oh, I definitely am doing this a lot, reducing the frequency of that, could that almost immediately bring some relief?
Almost immediately, yeah.
Okay, so would you recommend that?
I would recommend that first, but that's where like similar to if you just like, rest and just not use it, then you're going to get relief, of course. Like, oh, my back hurts when I deadlift, so I'm not just going to deadlift, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't want to just stop that for the rest of your life. Yeah,
I guess for deadlifting, you maybe can get away with it. Sometimes you can't, but with like elbow, you can't get away with it because if you have pain with bench pressing, and then since you're using your arm for so much, and your pain goes away after you don't bench press for a while, that pain can still come up when either you're like trying to reach for something in the cabinet, holding groceries, picking up your dog, picking up your kids, or like when you go back to weightlifting. So that brings me into my second reason is you want to address the root cause, and a few root causes that I commonly see is going to be the weak mid-back muscles. That's actually one of the number one reasons.
Really?
I'll say,
really? Which muscles specifically would you say?
I would say middle trap, lower trap.
Middle trap and lower trap.
Lower trap, yeah.
Interesting. Now, I know those help a lot with shoulder stabilization.
And I would say serratus also.
Serratus as well? Okay, so why is that?
It's because so they control the scapula a lot, so they move up and down. So scapula is the shoulder blades. It's on your back, yep, right here. These bad boys right here. So
responsible for all this stuff.
Exactly. So the muscles I mentioned, the middle trap, lower trap, and serratus, and you could say some of the other muscles also, but those are what I see. Those muscles are a lot bigger than, would you say, like, pretty much like these muscles right here, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So they should be the muscles that kind of do the force when you pull something or when you're like holding or gripping onto something. Yeah. So a number one thing I see with people when they have a weak mid back but they have elbow pain is they don't have that awareness to connect with a farmer's carry, for example.
Sure.
Or an overhead carry. When I have someone do like a farmer's carry, they're gonna be like, oh, I feel it more in my forearms than my back, or I feel it more in my grip strength. Yeah. Or if I have
even maybe their shoulders, right?
Their shoulders, if it's in the front, that's how you know. So that means what I do is I kind of like have to first of all give them lighter weights and have them just hold those dumbbells or kettlebells and just have them kind of focus. I'm tapping on their back saying, hey, focus on these muscles working.
Get that activation.
Yeah, and that's when you know, like, okay, they're actually feeling it. The only time they should feel their forearm or their elbow muscles, I should say, biceps, is if their grip is giving out. Yeah. That's when you kind of have to be like, okay, maybe let's lower the weight, let's give you chalk, or let's put some bands on there so you're able to grip it a little more.
Because that will be a limiting factor.
Yeah.
That's common
the grip strength,
to do an exercise in like deadlifts, rows, for the grip to give out first. It's not like necessarily an uncommon thing. But you're saying if it's happening like immediately, or they're just not engaging with these big back muscles at all, that's a sign this little muscle's doing all the work and getting really overworked.
Yeah. Because like it would be, especially if I have someone carry like a 15-pound dumbbell and they feel it all in their arms, that's when I'm like, okay, no, I need you to come back. Let's retract those muscles.
Yeah.
Even with overhead carry, actually, if you'll know if someone has good awareness and good mid-back strength is if they're in an overhead carry and you make them walk and they feel all in their lats and mid-back.
Well, that's good.
That's good. Yeah. If they feel actually like in their shoulder right here, or worse, even in their elbow, that's when you know it's like they're not really engaging it properly. So
you got to reduce that weight and just focus on stimulating.
Reduce the weight, or we'll break them down to assessments. Or that's where like physical therapists or some fitness coaches they'll do like assessments to see which of those muscles are weak in which position.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Because it could be situational.
It is very situational. Yeah. And even like when you have someone like kind of reach forward a little, and then you have them like kind of grab onto like a bar or something, like have like you test their grip pretty much in this strength right here.
I know. What are you grabbing there?
if they have a lot of pain there, that's how you know like one of those muscles in the mid back are weak. So those are just like a few assessments right there. So it does look wrong like that. Grabbing forward, grip strength, overhead reach, and then farmer carry. There's some 3 things you guys can practice for that if you have elbow pain.
That's awesome. So let's repeat that. Grabbing something forward, squeezing. If you feel a lot in your forearms and in any pain, probably means you're not engaging your back well. Yep. Overhead, if you feel a lot in your big shoulder muscles in the front.
It's an overhead like loaded walking.
So medium weight dumbbell, walking with that, fully extended overhead. If you don't feel it in this serratus, in your lat, in your mid back, and you feel it more in the front or middle of your shoulder, probably a sign you're not recruiting muscles properly.
Exactly. Yep.
And what was that third one?
The third one's gonna also be the. Is it this?
No, we did that. We did this.
Oh, the farmer carry.
Farmer's carry, yeah. And then same thing, if you feel it like almost immediately in your forearms or in the front of your body, not good, but you want to be able to have those shoulders retracted, lock back and down, and feel it on the backside of your body.
Okay. Yeah,
what if you feel it in the backside a little bit, but a ton immediately in your traps, your upper traps specifically?
So if you feel it more in your traps, so the thing about the upper trap is that's an antagonist, which is the opposite muscle of your lower trap and mid trap.
Yeah, because that's for shoulder elevation.
Yeah, so that means you're gonna have to lower the weight, and that also means you're gonna have to kind of gain more awareness. So that means you're gonna have to break out and do more isolation stuff, like the T's, the I's, and then the Y's might be a little too advanced for that. But yeah, the T's and then the I's are actually pretty good. So you want to isolate the hell out of those back muscles without activating the upper trap muscles.
I love that. So we'll put that in the description. You can literally YouTube body weight T's and I's. And what's Brandon's saying is if on the farmer's carry you feel it mostly in your traps or in any of those other areas you talked about, if you could do that right away, notice that, and then if you notice that's going on, body weight T's and I's are going to be amazing for immediately engaging the muscles we want to engage. the lower traps, the mid traps.
Exactly. And then the second other reason of what your root cause is for your elbow is going to be we have mid-back weakness, but also there's also mid-back tightness as well.
Okay.
So just because your mid-back is...
And tightness can come from weakness, right?
Tightness can come from weakness, essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
So by tightness, I'm talking about like limited mobility. So like
Yes, okay.
if right here, let's say I'm pretty much stuck on a like on a rotisserie stick or whatever, that spinning thing.
Yes.
Right now. So everything stays frozen, and all I'm gonna do is just rotate my torso just like this. If I can't even rotate like 90 degrees, I believe. Oh, I just popped my back. Right, 90 degrees. And then on the other side, I'm able to rotate 90 degrees. That shows that you have some restriction there in your mid-back.
So with being seated, you should essentially be able to point your chest horizontally at the wall to your left or at the wall to your right.
Yes, yeah.
Almost all the way. I definitely have a little restriction, but pretty much all the way, right?
And that's a good assessment right there. You could also kind of put like a yoga block or a pillow between your knees.
To make sure that you're not just turning your body to
exactly.
Exactly.
And one of the reasons why like a lot of people get elbow pain when they're tight in their mid-back is because since they're like doing some kind of sport like pull-ups or CrossFit or like tennis or golf, whatever, if their mid-back can't move as much, so those mid-back muscles can take over and strike at the tennis ball, and they're just striking like, let's say I can't even turn all the way to the right, but I'll turn halfway, then that means that's a half-ass effort from my mid-back muscles on my right.
Yeah.
So who's going to have to carry all of the force? It's going to have
to
be shoulder and those smaller forearm muscles. Yep. So that's where the mobility restrictions come in. And I would even say, argue that the shoulder itself, if you get any shoulder mobility, like you're not able to kind of scratch your lower back or bring your hand behind your back like that yeah, you're pretty much like this. Yeah. So you're probably not using those muscles efficiently. So the reason why tight muscle or tight joints cause pain down the chain of the arm is because since there's restriction in that upper chain area, something has to compensate. Every time there's restriction, something else has to compensate. And the thing that's going to compensate the most is that elbow.
Totally. So that would a parallel be maybe with somebody trying to pick something off the floor, if they're not able to, let's say their thoracic spine's super stiff, naturally they're going to have to round their lumbar spine a little bit.
Exactly.
Which is not necessarily bad, but again, that's a compensation down the chain.
Yeah, and that's not bad. That would only be bad if your thoracic can't extend as much or flex as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's always it depends if it's bad or not. You know what I mean? So if someone just keeps has that limited mobility on the right and they actually play tennis, then that's actually bad because they're actually getting elbow pain also. So
what muscle, if you do have the proper rotation, what muscle is involving there in that rotation?
In that rotation, it's going to have to be actually a lot of people know some of the lats actually involved with rotation, and there's also the obliques as well.
Definitely the obliques.
Obliques is the main one.
Lats involved in rotation?
Lats, it's I think it's towards the end range. I don't know. I learned it in PT school. It's towards maybe the end range rotation. Because if you think about it, if you rotate your torso like this and you squeeze your lats, you're able to get some end range rotation.
Well, it definitely helps to bring your humerus down back.
Yeah,
which kind of
that causes you to get that end range rotation.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people do focus in performance rehab. They do focus on a lot of lats for pitchers, anyone swinging a baseball bat, golfers. Yeah.
Interesting. Would you just say then for somebody who does do a lot of repetitive movements, they should just be cognizant of maybe doing things that will engage the muscles that commonly will get less engagement from those movements, or commonly could someone just off the bat be all right, I'm playing tennis, I know that these muscles tend to get a little underworked, blah blah blah, I'll just preemptively do some Y's and I's.
Yeah, so for a lot of the athletes, a lot of people know this, a lot of the athletes, they think that people for the Super Bowl or something, all the football players there, they don't do the same warm up.
Yeah.
A lot of them have their own individual warm up. And in the performance world, they call it a pillar prep or a movement prep. So everyone has a different pillar prep that's tailored to their specific mobility or strength limitations.
Very
so
cool.
It's for someone who's about to play tennis and they have elbow pain, their pillar prep is going to be a lot of those T's, Y's, or it might be, we'll go into our third topic, it might be also hip opening as well.
Okay, let's talk about hip opening.
So the third reason why a lot of people get elbow pain, it's not just hip opening, it's also I call it like coordination or their sports pattern, their coordination or sport pattern. So it's like, it's not because you're not getting elbow pain because you're hitting it. I mean, because your back is weak, it's now because you're hitting it wrong. So some people, they have that mobility, they have that strength.
Yeah.
But maybe they've been taught.
They learned it the wrong way.
They learned it the wrong way. Yeah.
Shitty technique. They could do the right technique if they were taught it the right way. Their body would allow that, but they just don't know that. Oh, I'm supposed to rotate with my body. They learn the wrong way.
Yeah, like even for my golfers, I have this one patient who's a golfer, and he actually this is more for back pain, and then we actually messed around. I thought his back pain was honestly coming from the back only, or just from like weak glutes.
Okay.
Yeah, but then we started doing more mobility because now he wanted to do more 90-90s, which I've given him before, but it's long story short, he didn't like him. But then he started doing 90-90s again, and we got deep to where we worked on internal rotation.
Yeah.
And then he did that, and then we did like a golf swing. We practiced golf swing, and he said it didn't hurt his lower back at all. So it just showed me that like, okay, the way you swing a golf club is a little different, because if I'm able to give you more movement, more freedom to move down here, it shows that you're able to swing it more freely without any pain.
Well, that's interesting, because what you're saying there is with him, you were kind of operating off of normal golf swing technique, and then when you found out he had this different kind of abnormal technique, you didn't say like, okay, we're gonna re-educate you on proper technique. You just said, okay, if this is what you're working with, I just know that you're gonna have these individual needs. You need more internal rotation.
Yeah,
so that's interesting. Yeah.
And also even if we want to relate back to elbow, one of my CrossFit patients, he's coming to me for elbow pain, and it's because at first I thought it was because he was overusing it. That was one big thing. But then when I assess his like pull-up form, you can see that he's hiking more with his shoulder on the left side hikes up more than his right. Wow. And then his pain side is on the right side. So that means that he doesn't have enough strength on that right side. So he's been doing a pull-up wrong.
An asymmetrical pull-up.
It's asymmetric pull-up. Yeah. And then once I saw that, I started seeing him do a lot of like shoulder to overhead movements, like what they do in CrossFit, and I was like, oh shit, he's doing that shit wrong too. Wow. So it's like a lot of coordination, and it's because he wasn't really formally taught like how to like lift something up. Yeah. You know what I mean? Then he can really address it. He can be aware of it.
Yeah, you can't be aware of it until you're taught it. Yeah, totally.
And I will say, it is tough, like teaching people like how to like teach their form, because it's not like they're a kid right now where they could just like relearn it. They're just like stuck in their old habits.
Body awareness is a spectrum, and some people naturally have really good body awareness. Maybe they've done a lot of athletics as a kid. I've definitely had some clients where their body awareness isn't the best, and I've had maybe side by side clients. This guy never deadlifted before, learns a proper deadlift within the first session. This other client takes months to get that deadlift form down. So it can vary a lot. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah, that's why your elbow pain is not coming from your elbow. You want to look at mid-back weakness. Okay. Mid-back tightness. Okay. Then you want to look at also your coordination or sports performance pattern. And also, we mentioned in the beginning, if you're overtraining.
Yeah, you might just be doing too much, man. Too much.
Yeah, too much.
But anyway, thank you so much for listening to this episode. We got a physical therapist in house. If you need a physical therapist, look up Pascual Performance. Link in the description. He is the guy to go to in San Diego. If you need a personal trainer, go to me, because I'm here. You just go to me.
I'm here right now.
But yeah, thank you so much for checking this episode out. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're listening in Spotify, rate us 5 stars. If you're listening in Google, rate us 5 stars too. And we'll see you all in the next video. Peace.